President Biden and Donald Trump will face off tomorrow night in the first general election debate at CNN's Atlanta studios at 9 p.m. Eastern. Here's a bit of what happened the last time these two went head-to-head at a debate.
The character of the country is on the ballot. Our character is on the ballot. Look at us closely.
Let me ask some follow-up. Please respond, and then we're going to have follow-up
questions. If this stuff is true about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq, if this is true, then he's a corrupt politician.
Right.
So don't give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby.
Our Nancy Cordes joins us now from Atlanta. Nancy, in general, what's the atmosphere there?
Well, Major, there's a great deal of anticipation. Both campaigns have a significant presence here. And now that we're just one day away from this first of what we expect at this point will be two presidential debates between now and Election Day. The stakes couldn't be higher, not only because this is an event that is sure to get a lot of attention around the country, particularly from voters who maybe weren't tuned in that closely before now, but also because this state of Georgia is one of the key battleground states. You'll remember Trump won it by about 5 points back in 2016, but then he famously lost it by about 12,000 votes to President Biden in 2020. So there is a fierce matchup going on here. Both of the campaigns holding events today to try to reach Atlanta voters, African-American voters in particular. The two candidates are not here in Atlanta yet, but the former president called into an event at a black-owned barbershop here in Atlanta today, and they'll both be arriving tomorrow for this first of two debates.
And to what degree can you describe the length and depth of the president's preparations, Nancy?
It has been lengthy, and by all accounts, it has gone into great depth. He's been holding sessions, formal sessions, informal sessions, mock debates with his key advisors at Camp David for the better part of 6 days now, Major. And that is meant in part to avoid a curse that has befallen a lot of presidents, where they don't do that well in the first presidential debate, often because they are consumed by their day job, which is a significant impediment, but also because, as we saw in 2012, President Obama didn't do that much prep because he thought, I've got this. I deal with these issues day in and day out. How much preparation do I really need to do? That's what his aides said his outlook was at the time. And then you end up being a little rusty when you come into these high-pressure debates. So they're looking to avoid that this time around with quite a bit of prep, while former President Trump, on the other hand, claimed in an interview with Newsmax today he doesn't need much prep. He's been studying these issues for years. I have to tell you, Major, the Biden team is pretty skeptical of that claim. They point out that he has, not been in public much at all over the past 4 days. He held one fundraiser in New Orleans, so they think that he's doing more preparation with his team than he's letting on.
Nancy, also some news there today. Former Republican congressman, and he was also a member of the January 6th Select Committee, Adam Kinzinger, endorsed President Biden's re-election. And he also talked to you about something that the Trump campaign has tried to inject into the atmosphere around this, that, Biden will be on some sort of amphetamine or some sort of thing to jack him up for the debate performance. What did he tell you? That is to say, Kinzinger.
What he told me, Major, is that Trump tends to turn to conspiracies every time there's a piece of information that doesn't go his way. After all, this is something that Trump did in 2016 before the debates with Hillary Clinton, and 2020 before his last debate with Joe Biden. Kinzinger insisted that it's not going to work this time. Take a listen to what he told me.
They're setting expectations that if Joe Biden does well and better than Donald Trump, it must be some outside influence like drugs. It's asinine. It's insane. It's disrespectful to the president of the United States, regardless of who's president. And it just goes to show how desperate they are.
I've talked to the Biden team quite a bit about this, Major, and while it frustrates them to hear an accusation hurled at President Biden that they say is completely baseless, not just by Trump, by the way, but by members of his team, they like to point out that Joe Biden famously doesn't even drink. And so it's unlikely he's going to be using any foreign substances tomorrow or at any point in the future.
Nancy Cordes with us from Atlanta. Thank you so very much. Don't forget, here's a programming note. I'll get that out. Join us at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. in the West tomorrow for coverage of the presidential debate, right here on CBS News 24/7. This program will kick off coverage with a special edition of America Decides live from the Spin Room in Atlanta at our usual time.